All right, so we've done 2 toes, and we're definitely getting a much looser. How's it feeling for you, Danielle?
It feels a lot looser.
Yeah, it feels a lot looser, good. Again, just stretching this big toe here. Not too much, obviously we don't want to go over her threshold. And again, it just depends on, again, how long I've got. I could then come in and do the next toe as well. So maybe we'll just do these 3 last toes and then. See quite a lot of.
Yeah, quite a pull back there.
Yeah. So that means that this is holding more
than the other toe previously.
It feels like it definitely feels it's a bit more sensitive for her, and it's definitely more charged. So I want to find my spot and then just figure out how much she can handle there. And that's about it.
Yeah.
Good, and her breathing's doing. I'm just holding and directing a bit of energy, and so it's a bit like a laser where I'm just trying to get that right balance just between being effective but not overwhelming.
So if people are, bizarre question, but if you go onto their toes, is there ever a point where they do have tension but they don't feel anything in their toes, and you've just got to like do some, so do you go to head and stomach work to try to get flow happening, or people always feel pain in their toes?
Well, I remember one guy, he had numbness from this point down, and he was really sensitive here, and then you could work him as deep as you wanted.
You couldn't feel anything. Yeah.
So I wouldn't say always that people don't have any that have sensitivity.
So the numbness is due to blockages?
Numbness must have been something with his nervous system, because it was so pronounced. Where he had awareness to hear and absolutely nothing. I could work him as deep as possible.
Like diabetics and stuff to have like very little.
So you can't always use pain as a indicator in those situations.
Yeah.
You just have to be kind of aware not to overwork somebody, or if you're working on, say, a quadriplegic or a paraplegic, you'll have absolutely no awareness of what you're doing, but it can still be good to loosen up their feet
and move
the energy. But because they're not using their feet, as much, they have more of a tendency when you're working on them to bruise and things like that and to come up. So you have to be careful of that. Yeah.
So just a bit more gentle.
Yeah.
And the same with elderly people that have got inflammation, like what's that that's called, that you get that massive swelling in the legs? What's that called?
Like edema?
Yeah, like edema. So what do you do with people with edema? Do you
just go gentle? It's just going to take longer.
Do you spend more time doing just gentle massage first to help move some of the fluid?
Yeah. And it's just a case of working up to what they can handle. So that one went there.
Yeah, straight away.
Yeah. So always working within the particular person's ability to handle it, depending upon the person. Again, I can feel a lot of blockage just in here at the top. So very important spots on this band can be right in here, and then right at this first joint. So here, and then right in here. I mean, obviously in between here we can connect it a bit, but right in here. So, and that's the same with a lot of the bands, like especially here and here. This connection from this band into this first joint is often very, very tight. And as I say, as people age, this is where, these joints are going to can become arthritic with just years of neglect and, this buildup of this trapped kind of energy that can manifest in some form of thing where it feels like little gritty sand under there, which must be I think it's some form of acid crystal thing, And then they join together and gradually fuse a joint, and that's what is going on with a lot of people who are diagnosed with arthritis. So again, just holding that spot, letting her breathe into it, and then working a little bit lower, giving her a rest. So sometimes never feel bad about coming back and forth to an area. It's like, I know myself when I'm getting worked on, if I'm really tight, I sometimes just feel like I need a little rest on an area. There's nothing wrong with that.
I guess it gives them a chance for some of that to move that's sort of sitting there and then go back.
Yeah, and breathe, and just for them to relax, especially when we're working them up at high levels of intensity.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
Tight.
Yeah, so I'm easing my pressure off just slightly to make it where, again, I'm just working within her threshold. Yeah. And there will come a point too where a person starts to go, well, that's enough for this session, right? Yeah. And that, you know, that's just like maybe they're off, or, you know, people even go into complete other realms, and you just go, okay, that's enough for today. And you may have just got 2 toes done, but for me, some people go, oh, you just loosened 2 toes. I look at it, you loosened 2 toes that it might have been tight for 30 or 40 years. You know, it's profound. You know, the profundity of loosening 2 toes is very important, because it'll have an impact all the way up. And 3 toes is even better. So again, just coming back to this spot, going in deeper this time, and you can see she can handle. I'm getting in quite deep now.
Whereas before you were just barely touching.
It was too much for her, so it's getting less charged.
Yeah.
The more charged it is, the more you know, the person can't handle so much because it's too much. But now I've released some of that charge.
And you're pushing like down and running like before. That was like
that was way too much for her.
Really
Yeah.
badly, yeah.
And so it's definitely shifting. And I'm coming into here. Giving her a little rest from the chopsticks and just doing some stretching of the toes as well. So stretching back. You can actually work areas while you're stretching as well. Obviously it's more intense. I might use something less pointed and come more into here.
Can you injure a person, like in terms of like when you're moving the toes and fingers and joints around, like?
Yeah, again, it's awareness.
Yeah.
The person who's completely lacking in awareness can and probably will injure somebody doing anything. So the awareness has to be there first before the technique or the action, you know? And so as beginners, always just err on the side of caution. And also, you're better off over communicating with the person if necessary. Because you're not usually going to injure somebody unless you're pushing them beyond what they can handle, because they'll know before you injure them that, oh, this is too much. And watching for signs of flinching. And don't do fast, intense moves. Slow, you know, you're building up that pressure, you're seeing. I mean, obviously I do some faster moves, but I have a feeling for what I'm doing. But yeah, I've been doing it 30 years. I'm allowed to, yeah. But, you know, so don't do everything I'm doing unless you've got that same level of awareness, you know? Basically stay within your awareness field, you know? While hoping to expand it. And the way that you will expand it too is that communication with the person, you know? If you're not good at the nonverbal communication of just sensing where's that person's limit, then use your verbal communication and ask them, how's it going? How's my pressure? Is this okay, you know? So